What is going on, Brownie Bros? It is Big Time Brownie, your coach of the Green Bay Yampers, here for a new Wi-Fi draft league. We are taking part of the UPA. Some of you might know we took part in the UPA Showdown Division. By the way, our first playoff match will be going up this week. I'm sorry about the delay on that. So make sure you check that out. We finished first place in the regular season in the Showdown Division, so I'm really happy about that. But we are taking our talents, I guess, to the Wi-Fi division, so the main UPA, and I'm super excited to be a part of this league. It's really competitive. There are a lot of really great coaches and really great content creators that I admire and watch, so make sure you check those guys out. I'll have links to all of them in the description down below. Also, make sure you do check us out on Twitch, twitch.tv/BigTimeBrownie. Right now, 50% of our profits from bits and subs and 75% from monetary donations are going to the Palestine Children's Relief Fund. If you have any questions about what that is, a link to their website will be in the description below. So come on out. We have a lot of fun on Twitch. We're doing Wind Waker, Pokemon Snap, and some VGC as well right now over there. Alright, without further ado, like I said, we are back in Wi-Fi. It's been a minute. But I'm pumped to be back in Wi-Fi. It's a lot of fun. I sort of took a break for a little while just because it was becoming a little bit too stressful for me, and I took a long break from creating content, but we're back now. So how this draft worked is we had 120 points, and we could pick between 10 and 12 Pokemon. There are 20 coaches in this league, so it's a pretty big draft, and quite frankly, I think a lot of teams aren't, obviously they're not as strong as they are in, Galar Dex leagues with less people. I was just part of one with 8 people, and obviously those teams tend to be a lot more balanced. I don't want to say stronger, but they tend to be a lot more balanced just because you have more options to fill your holes. But we did have the 14th pick, fill your holes, whatever. We're going to move on. We had the 14th pick in this draft, so pretty late on, not the greatest, but I think our picks were close enough that we were able to sort of, work with it. Honestly, I didn't really have a plan going in. I was not sure what would be available at this point in the draft. But luckily, with our first pick, Garchomp actually fell to the 14th pick. And Garchomp's just a really solid Pokemon. I had it in the UPA Showdown Division. A lot of people like to run Swords Dance Scale Shot. I think I ran that, honestly, just once. It's not my favorite set. It is really good, though, and the threat of it is something that, everyone has to prep for. But it's just super strong with just the dual stab and Earthquake and Dragon Claw. It also gets nice coverage with like Stone Edge, Poison Jab, Iron Head. It gets Stealth Rock as well. It can be a Stealth Rock lead. You could Scarf it. You can run some special moves with like Fire Blast and whatnot. I like the Rocky Helmet Rough Skin set with Rest as well. I think that's a really good set to get some chip. Just an overall really solid mon, not something that I expected to last till 14. And it was funny, with 12, I think it was on the 12th pick, so there was 2 picks before mine. Someone was talking and saying, I can't believe Garchomp is still here, and I was like, oh no, please. Don't one take this in the next 2 picks, and luckily it did fall. So next up we had, I think the 26th pick, yeah, the 26th pick, or something like that, and we ended up going with Melmetal. So at this point, a lot of Steel types had went in the first round and at the top of the second round, and I wanted to get a really good Steel type to pair with Garchomp, obviously to resist Fairy and Ice. Although I was thinking about Celesteela, I thought Celesteela Garchomp was an interesting combination, but I ended up not going for Celesteela because, one, it doesn't resist Ice, and also because I was envisioning myself getting a bulky Water type, and I didn't want to have two of my better mons having electric weaknesses, and or I was thinking about maybe Rotom Wash, but I just decided to go with Melmetal because also it just seems like more fun, and I've never used Melmetal before. I feel like a lot of times it's a little bit underwhelming in Draft League, especially for 18 points, which is the highest tier. But I mean, just the threat of it and just how strong it is with Double Iron Bash and Iron Fist and its other moves, I think it's really good. You could also run the Iron Defense or Acid Armor Body Press set. AV Melmetal is really good. Subtoxic Melmetal is pretty good. So I think it's actually pretty versatile. And obviously, like I said, it does resist the Ice and the Fairy, which I thought was really good. Really good. And as I alluded to, I really wanted a bulky water type. I was looking really heavily at Rotom Wash. Unfortunately, it went in between Melmetal and our third pick. And I ended up going with Vaporeon. I think at 11 points, it's actually pretty good value. It's a Heal Beller, it can Wish, and now with Flip Turn, it has some really good momentum. It also does have Baton Pass, but I think with Flip Turn, it has some really good momentum. I think I said it has Heal Bell, which is good as well. Obviously, it has really high special defense and decently high HP, very high HP. Sorry, I was gonna say decently high special attack. And the Skull Instrument actually hurt things, and it gets Ice Beam. It also gets like Stored Power, so I don't know. Maybe we'll see. I think it gets Acid Armor, so who knows? Maybe we'll see Acid Armor, Stored Power Vaporeon once this season. But just a really solid Pokemon, one that complements. I apologize about that. Complements, I think, what we have so far. I think Garchomp and Melmetal really, really appreciate Wishes. I also, Garchomp and Melmetal have no momentum moves, no U-turn or Baton Pass or anything like that. So I wanted something that would be able to do that. And I think it's just a good support Pokemon for those two. Heal Bell is also really nice for Melmetal and Garchomp. If Garchomp gets Toxic or burned, or if Melmetal gets burned. As well, and also it does resist ice again, although not freeze dry, but it does resist ice, and fire as well, which helps with Melmetal. And I know I wasn't able to get Rotom Wash, but I was able to snag Rotom Heat, which I thought fit really well with the team. So Rotom Heat, has two weaknesses, it has two weaknesses. Water and rock, so it's immune to ground, which I thought I needed. Melmetal obviously is weak to ground, and having an immunity I thought was really important, and I didn't even have a resistance yet. It also is another Pokemon that has momentum with Volt Switch. It can defog as well, and it has some nice setup capability too. And it can also Will-O-Wisp and Thunder Wave. And overall, just a really, again, solid Pokemon. I think it fits really well on the team. And with these four Pokemon, the only weakness that's not covered yet is fighting. Garchomp is weak to Ice and Fairy and Dragon. Melmetal resists all three of those. Vaporeon resists one of them. Rotom Heat resists two of those. Melmetal is weak to ground, fighting, like I said, and fire. And Rotom resists two of those, Vaporeon resists one of those, Garchomp resists one of those, so I think, I really like the synergy of the team thus far, and the ability of Vaporeon Rotom Heat to gain some momentum and switch into one of my heavy hitters in Garchomp and Melmetal. Speaking of heavy hitters, next up we get Azelf. Azelf is just something that I've always really wanted to use. I think it's a super underrated Pokemon. I've been using it a lot in UU, and it helped me get into like the top 200 in UU. And I've been using both Specs and Band in UU, and it's just really powerful. It gets some really nice coverage on the special side, with like Shadow Ball, Flamethrower, Thunderbolt. On the physical side, it basically gets the same type of things with the punches, but it gets Ice Punch as well and Knockoff too, which is really nice. It can be like a Stealth Rock suicide lead. I'm not a huge fan of it being a suicide lead. I'm honestly not a huge fan of suicide leads in general. I understand why they're good, but I'm not a huge fan of it. It's another Pokemon that can U-turn, which, is not stopped by any sort of immunity. Flip Turn is obviously stopped by Water Absorb, or Storm Drain and Volt switch is stopped by ground types or Volt Absorb or Lightning Rod users. So the U-turn is really nice as well. Just a super versatile Pokemon, a really nice speed tier at 115. Right now, you know, we have Garchomp at 102 and Rotom Heat at 86. So I wanted to be able to hit at least the 115 speed tier, and having Azelf there with also its 125 attack and special attack. It's just really, really nice. You can run mixed as well. It gets access to Nasty Plot too, so just a really hard hitter. And also, I guess this technically does resist fighting, although it's not really gonna switch into any fighting types. Speaking of top 5 or 200 in UU, this is another Pokemon, Comfey, that helped me reach that's helped me get to the highlighter, very highlighter in UU. Just a really, really nice Pokemon, I think. Calm Mind, Draining Kiss, Stored Power, and Giga Drain is just so good. With Life Orb or Big Root, I've had a lot of success with either of those items. It also gets Nature Power, which can be interesting. I think in the PBAL, I took out a Skarmory with Electric Terrain Nature Power, so that was kind of funny. Obviously, it just does not do well with Steel types. It can't really touch them. But really everything else on the team can kind of deal with Steel types. So Comfey can be a great late game sweeper. It can also, you know, taunt, Leech Seed, Defog. It also gets access to U-turn, so it can be a stally or bulky Pokemon as well. It also gets Aromatherapy, so pretty versatile Pokemon, not only a sweeper, but one that's really annoying to deal with. This is a better fighting type switch in, and also a dark type switch in, which helps with Azelf as well. So, and I forgot to mention, Azelf was another ground immunity, which is very nice. And at 9 points, I think Comfey is really, really nice. And you know, we're starting to run out of points here. I got some really high point Pokemon early on. And my next pick did not really help. 11 points. We got Galarian Moltres. At this point, dark types were few and far between. And I decided to go with Galarian Moltres because, again, you know, I have super heavy hitters in Garchomp and Melmetal, and I do have Azelf, Comfey, and Rotom, which are decent special attackers. Azelf's a really good special attacker. But I wanted another really good special attacker. I also didn't have a Flying type. Flying type's a really nice offensive type. You know, it's a dark type that's not weak to fighting, which I think is pretty helpful on the team. And it has pretty good synergy. Again, we have a lot of ice and electric resist such immunities, and fairy as well. So it's a Pokemon that's, you know, can set up with Nasty Plot. Berserk's a really nice ability. Fiery Wrath is a really good move. Fiery Wrath and Hurricane is all you really need. You can run Weakness Policy, Agility. You can run Sleep Talk with Moltres. Just a really fun Pokemon, and I think really the best dark type that I saw that I thought was available. Really excited to use this. A lot of mons I haven't used in Draft League before, if I'm going to be honest. I'm very comfortable with Garchomp, Vaporeon, and Comfey, but other than that, I haven't really used these other Pokemon. Next up, we have Decidueye. So again, you know, fighting type honestly was still a bit of a problem, I thought, for the team. So having that fighting immunity, I think, is really good. Also being a spin blocker. Decidueye is just a really underrated Pokemon. I think it can be mixed. I think it has 107 attack and 100 special attack. But it has moves like Knockoff, Poltergeist, Brave Bird. It's another momentum user with U-turn. And I think Galarian Moltres also gets U-turn, by the way. But pretty much everything after our first two Pokemon has momentum. But yeah, it can get momentum with that. It also gets access to Swords Dance and Nasty Plot as well. So, you know, you can run Giga Drain, Shadow Ball. It has some nice priority in Shadow Sneak and Sucker Punch too, and another Defogger. Toxic Spikes. Toxic Spikes are not something things like Comfey and Vaporeon appreciate. So, I think having as many Defoggers as possible and as many options there is phenomenal, in my opinion. Another Pokemon I haven't used, so we'll see how that goes. Next up, we have Heracross, another 11-pointer with only 6 Pokemon remaining. Heracross, I wanted a Spikes user, and there wasn't really many great ones that I wanted left, or that fit with the team, rather. Heracross does get access to spikes now. It's also just a really, really strong Pokemon, and it gets some nice coverage with Knockoff and Earthquake and Stone Edge. But it can also absorb status conditions like Will-O-Wisps or Toxic or whatever with its Guts ability. It gets Facade too, so it's a fun mon. You can also run like Moxie as well. It's a fun Pokemon to use. It hits super hard, and I think having a good physical attacker, physical fighting type Pokemon could be really helpful this season. And decent speed tier, 85, not the greatest, but it is what it is. Next up, we have Kangaskhan. This is our penultimate pick. So Kangaskhan, I was sort of deciding between Kangaskhan and Audino. I think Audino actually might have went by the time my pick came up, but I don't remember at this point. It's been a couple weeks now. But Kangaskhan, I think, is a pretty underrated Pokemon as well. It has a decently high HP stat. It has a decent attack stat. The speed tier is also okay at 90. It's a normal type. I felt like I needed a normal type. I think Decidueye is weak to Ghost. Ozelf's weak to Ghost. Having that sort of immunity with things like Dragapult and Spectrier and Gengar running around could be really important. It's another Wish user. It also is scrappy, so it is a decent Ghost type counter. And Intimidate doesn't affect it really. So you can run. It's a good Fake Out user because it doesn't get blocked by anything. And it gets some nice coverage as well. At 5 points, it's, I think, a decent Pokemon that filled a hole for me. I keep on saying that. I mean, it's true. And then finally, we had 1 point remaining, and then I ended up going with Whirlipede. I've been using Whirlipede in the IPBL, and I really enjoyed it, actually. It's a speed boost user with both spikes and toxic spikes, and at 1 point, there's not really a whole lot of value you're going to be getting. And it's not like, it doesn't really matter what type it is. I did not have a poison type or a grounded poison type, so I can absorb T-spikes, which I guess could be useful. But obviously the type is not super important. I said I hated Suicide Leads, but it kind of is one with, but it has spikes and Toxic Spike. It's actually pretty bulky with Eviolite, honestly. I've used that set a couple of times. You can also sash it. It gets Endeavor, which is really nice. And if you protect and get your speed boost off, you can usually get 2 layers of spikes or at least 1 layer of spike and a Toxic Spike up. So I think it could be useful. Spikes and Toxic Spike really help some of my Pokemon, because you can't just unlimitedly switch into Garchomp and Melmetal and Ozelf. Comfey appreciates the spikes as well, just so grounded steel types can get whittled down whenever you get Comfey in and you go for a Draining Kiss. If the steel type comes in on 2 spikes, it's not it's going to get worn down. It's a Pokemon. I don't know how often it'll come, but I think it actually might come more than my opponents might expect, unless they're watching this video, which some of them might be. Watching draft analysis it's kind of smart, honestly, to watch your opponent's draft analysis, because sometimes they tip their hand a little bit. All right, so that's it. That's the 11 Pokemon we drafted. You can see the full squad on the screen here: Garchomp, Melmetal, Vaporeon, Rotom Heat, Ozelf, Comfey, Galarian, Moltres, Decidueye, Heracross, Kangaskhan, and Whirlipede. And I honestly, I have to say, I am super, super happy with this team. I think this is a team where it's kind of a team where you have to prep for pretty much all 11 of the Pokemon. I mean, you don't have to prep for Whirlipede, but you do have to prep for Spike and Toxic Spike. That's another really good value for 1-pointer. If you are forcing any sort of prep, you're getting value out of your 1-pointer, in my opinion. So I'm just super happy with the team. I think it has a lot of synergy. We have some good momentum, some really heavy hitters on both the physical and special side. It is pretty offensive, I'll say. Like, there's a lot of bulky, like, Moltres is pretty bulky, Comfey is decently bulky, obviously Melmetal, and Rotom Heat and Decidueye are also decently bulky. So, I mean, they're all pretty bulky, but we don't have, besides Vaporeon, we don't have any, like, true walls, I'd say, but I'm okay with that. I think the team goes together really well. It's a really scary team to prep for, and, you know, even before week 1, which I've already done my week 1 battle, but, I was having trouble just picking 6 Pokemon, honestly, because I think there are just so many options with the team that could work. But let me know what you think of the team, and make sure you stay tuned for our UPA battles. This is going up on a Sunday, and starting next Sunday will be week 1, and every subsequent Sunday for at least 12 weeks. It's a 12-week season. We'll be uploading UPA battles. Thank you guys once again. Make sure you check out all the other coaches, like I said. Remember, a video from Big Time keeps your life sublime, so until next time, bye guys.